Welcome to Behind the Marriage, a series for the love month of February as couples share their perspectives on marriage. Hey, you all, welcome to my channel. I am so excited to be interviewing another couple for my marriage series. Welcome to Parkers.
Hey,
These are the real Parkers, not the Parkers from TV. Okay, I'm just playing.
one day we will be the Parkers from the TV.
Okay, period. One day, right? It's just funny. I just seen a TikTok of the Parker, so I thought that was hilarious. But I'm so excited for y'all to join and talk to us about marriage and just giving some insight. I really feel like it is great to highlight Black love and also marriage because it is definitely the love month. So I really wanted to reach out to some people who really had long-lasting relationships to be able to highlight marriage because you see so many different things on social media, and even growing up, like everybody doesn't have a great representation of what marriage is. So I'm very honored and thankful that you all decided to be a part of it, and you all can introduce yourself and then we can get into the questions.
Well, hi, Alicia. Just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to be on your podcast. I am Usual Parker. I'm married to
The great.
Derek Parker, and we are both originally from Virginia, the Tidewater area, now living in Huntsville, Alabama. And we've been married for
32 years.
Okay.
yes,
Yes.
and we are still dating.
Okay, love that. Are you about to be 33 like in 2023, or did you just do 32? Does that make sense?
So in June,
Oh,
in June it will be 32 years.
oh my goodness, you guys got married the same month my parents got married.
Oh, wow. June 28th.
Yep, June 20th.
Yes. I don't know. I forgot the date. Ooh, forgive me. I want to get married in June too. Okay, June.
All right.
All right.
Yes, I do want to get married in June. That's so funny. That is so cool. So this year will be 33 years, and we are wishing success for you all. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. My first question is, why is marriage so important, or why should people get married?
Well, I want to ponder on this question just a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Marriage. First of all, I just want to say that marriage is the best thing that ever happened to me. Uh, and the reason why I say that is because God prepared this young lady that I'm sitting beside specifically for me. And people, marriage is great, especially when it's done like Genesis said, say for it to be done, between a man and a woman. I'm gonna tell you, especially when you got a beautiful woman, a smart woman, and somebody who's right there with you, that will correct you when you're wrong, and love with you when you're right. So I think marriage is the best institute established by God for people.
Okay, that was great. Do you have anything to add?
Well, I want to say, I look at marriage as something very special. And I say that because when Derek and I met each other, we had never dated. I want to put that out there. We had never held hands. We had never kissed.
No.
Any of that. Actually, I was in Virginia. I met him. He had came back from the Gulf War. We were introduced, just name exchange, and that was it. And he went back to El Paso, Texas. So as he goes back to El Paso, Texas, I was working with my mom at a daycare center, and I was working in the office. And so, of course, I had the records because he has a son. We have a son, but it was his son. And I called him just to see if he had made it back to Texas.
No, she was checking up on the brother. That's what she was doing.
No, actually, I'm serious. I just called to see if he had made it back to Texas. Okay. And we kind of communicated over the phone for a month. And during that time, he proposed to me.
What?
So I literally knew this young lady for 2 weeks before I proposed to her.
Okay, that is crazy. And y'all been married for 32 Adventures. Okay, what they say when a man
Please.
knows, they knows. That's why I'm listening to these other people. I'm listening to y'all.
Well,
Like 5-6 years. No, that's wasting time.
but let me tell you this though.
Mhm.
I was not a good person when it came to being around women.
Mhm.
I was a type of guy that played the field a lot. But when I saw her at the daycare at the daycare, and I saw her, and it was something about her. She had some things that I wasn't looking for. She had substance.
Mhm.
Um, and the thing that when I saw her, and I tell everybody this, and she knows what's coming. When I saw her, I said to myself, I said, she looks like somebody I would have to spend time with.
Mhm.
And at that point in time in my life, I was not trying to spend time with anybody. Conversation was nothing that I was on my list or any of that type of stuff. But when she called me, she done something that no other woman had ever done for me, and that was she listened to me. She was able to speak intelligently back to me, and I fell in love with the conversation that we had. And when we done that, I knew then. I said, "Hey, I want to marry this young lady." And I said, "Well, let me go ahead and propose to her." And 2 weeks later,
I want to
And you
pause.
say yes.
I want to pause, Alicia, because I told him when he asked me on the phone, knowing that we only knew each other's name, I said, are you serious? I said, you don't know anything about me. All you know is my name and where I work at. And he was
Mhm.
like, yes. He came back to see me for a week. I rode back with him to El Paso and we got married. And we've been married ever since.
What? Oh my gosh, you weren't nervous or scared? What? In 2 weeks? Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So it can be done.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend 6, 7 years in a relationship before you realize.
But let God be the one that leads you in that direction, because
Yes.
Mhm.
because of the fact that there are some nuts out here.
Yes.
So don't just
That's
go
true.
and whoever hears this say, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go propose to them. They're gonna fall in love with me, and no, 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 no. But you have to be led by God, and trust me. Her parents was like, you ain't marrying that guy,
Right.
all different types of stuff.
Right.
Mhm.
But at that point in time, I knew that she was the one for me, because she done some things I really had never really experienced from a
Mhm.
woman before. And she did not show a whole lot of cleavage. She didn't have, I mean, she wore clothes. She covered herself up, you
Mhm.
know, but she was still one fine. Okay.
I am cracking up. That is so funny. That's so funny. I don't know, like to expand on it, you said like 2 weeks, you was like she had substance. How are you feeling like to somebody that maybe they think that, because I do know some people do have those stories like, oh, we got together and we was married in 3 months and stuff like that. Like, how do you know? I guess like what should someone look for if someone does end up doing that? Like how was that process thinking on your side when he like asked you?
Well, at first I was like I said, I was like, are you serious? Because you don't know anything about me. All you know is my name. And I began to tell him some of the things. I was like, hey, I'm spoiled. I like to have nice things.
Okay, yes.
I'm used, I was my daddy's oldest daughter, and he only had girls. So whatever I wanted, daddy made sure we got. And so I was trying to put all those things out there because I'm like, hey, I have standards and
Mhm.
I ain't trying to lower my standards just to be with a man, okay?
Okay, we
So
love
if you
this.
want this, I'm just gonna let you know straight up what you're dealing with.
Uh-huh.
So
And nothing has changed. She still got standing.
Oh
that's
yes, and my girl be
I
looking
tell you,
fly. Okay.
if a man wants you, if a woman wants you, and you lay it out there, they're gonna make sure they're gonna do what it takes to make it work.
Hmm.
And that's what we work now. I'm not saying that marriage always is peaches and cream, but when you want something, you're gonna work for it, and you're gonna know, hey, just be honest, let them know how you feel. Communication is a lot.
Mm-hmm. That is
Uh,
so funny though. That kind of brings, it's another question, but we're gonna talk about it. Since y'all did get married so like fast, we should say like in daytimes, you did bring up that conversation. Do you suggest anything else that you should talk about before you marry someone, or did all your conversations kind of come after y'all already got married?
so I'm gonna say this. Our first 5 years of marriage, because we did not discuss certain questions, it was a marriage from hell. I'm just gonna tell you. The first 5 years, I don't wish it on nobody, because that was 5 years of us, and keeping in mind, we left the United States after we got married
Uh-huh.
and went to Germany right after we got married. So it's
Mm.
no going home to mom. It's no I'm leaving, going stay with my cousin, my whatever. Because so now we were in Germany, stuck together with each other.
For
All
5 years.
right, for our first 3 years of
Oh.
marriage.
Mhm.
Um, but the things that we had to work together was we had to learn each other,
Right.
and that's why it was so rough for us, because um, we had to find out who can count and who can't. In
Mhm.
other words, when it comes to budgeting,
Right.
who was a better planner, who done different things. We had to learn all those things on the go.
Mhm.
So can it happen? Will it work? Yes,
Yes.
yes. But you have to put the work in, and you have to be committed to the relationship, because of the fact, every time something goes wrong or doesn't go the way you expect it to go, I find a lot of people today, it's like, hey, I quit. I ain't signed up for all this, and I'm going.
Yeah.
Trust us, we had those days, but we stayed at it. You know, we were going to make this thing work. And one of the things that we was able, in our relationship, that we didn't have, was we didn't have our parents in our relationship.
Mhm.
Mhm.
We didn't have our friends coming there, talking about, man, if I were you, I would do this.
I wasn't
We
calling when y'all was in Germany because I'd have been calling people. Like, woo, where? Give me a flight. What's going
Right,
on?
right. Take me to the
Exactly.
airport now.
I know, I know. But that was the thing that the other thing that I think she had, um and because I thought that I was the perfect guy for anybody. I just knew I was the whoever got me, I was the catch,
Mhm.
because I thought I could get along with anybody. I thought that everybody was going to like me. But she showed me that, hey, I don't like you right now.
Yeah, I love you, but I don't like
I
it
don't.
right now.
Yeah.
Right,
You're not my favorite person right
right,
now.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, you're not my favorite, okay?
I am cracking up. So, not that you regret anything in life, but do you feel like, knowing what you know now, do you feel like you would have got married as quickly, or do you feel like you would have did the like dating part late, like longer, I should say?
No, I say that I'm happy that we went through those trials. Now, at the time, it didn't feel good, and Lord, I did not want to be in that.
Mm-hmm.
But it helped us and it prepared us for where we are now. And I know he said, we couldn't run home to mom and everything. Well, for me, it was a little different because um, when we got married, he already had a son. So I had to adjust to that too. And, I just wasn't accepting him as by himself, but I had to adjust what came with him.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fine. That was fine. What wasn't fine was when we had the all baby mama drama. That wasn't fine. But this was fine. The baby was fine. It was just the other part to it. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't regret that I got married at a young age. I don't regret the journey that we went on because it made us stronger. I think it made us um, appreciate and love each other more.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then realize that you can't, it's between us
Right.
two. We can't
Right.
just always bring other people in because they're not in this journey. They may be a part of it, but they not the ones that living in the same house, in the under the same roof.
Oh, I like that. Yes, like they're a part of the journey, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like, it's us too.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is not really in the questions, but since you brought it up,
Okay.
I would say
Oh,
it's
wow.
not too much, but going again, like how you were young and you're talking about like blended family. So I was kind of thinking like when you're saying like, oh, he has a son, it's like you kind of went from like single, no kids, to like, oh, I'm married, and now I'm kind of like in a mother role.
Right.
And so I feel like sometimes that does happen to women. And I don't know if you like maybe have advice or tips on like what to do in that situation, but I feel like, of course, like now the millennial generation, a lot of people have kids, a lot of people don't have kids. But the having to go on that road, or even like a lot of women who have kids that have to be like a stepfather in a sense. Like, do you have any tips for them, any suggestions on like being that person with no kids having to join the blended family and dealing with another a person like the mother or the father? Like, would you give any advice for someone maybe that's in that situation?
I will always say that both adults, both husband, wife, man, and woman, you
Mm-hmm.
have to realize that the child is innocent in,
Mm-hmm.
in in a relationship. So even when you accept the role of, hey, I want to be in your life, and you have some baggage that's coming along with you, you have to understand that everybody has a role, and in that, adults should be adults.
Right.
If you can communicate, I think it'll work fine. And that's with all parties, because guess what? You have this innocent child, regardless of what age, that you all have to work together to bring them up. I mean, because there's gonna be times that you're gonna be with dad. It's gonna be times you're gonna be with biological mom or biological dad, and your bonus parent. And then with the bonus parent, they have to realize that, hey, I'm not that child's biological parent, but I'm still gonna play would not play a role, but still be a very intricate part of that child's life. And it's all positivity. I think if all parties can communicate and get along, it could be one happy big family. Everybody know their role and everybody stay in their place.
And I just want to interject a little here. Um, Being the guy in this, the one that's bringing the children, there are times also where you got discipline.
Mm-hmm.
How's the child going to be disciplined in this relationship? You know, and that conversation has to go with the baby's mom,
Mm-hmm.
with your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
The whole it's a whole group thing here. And
Mhm.
when we don't have that conversation, when the adults in this conversation are not being adults,
Right,
you're in for a long run.
right.
And but when we all can be adults and know, and the main thing that I really suggest to all parties that may be listening, never use the child as a pawn in your relationship.
Exactly.
The child, because you're mad at dad,
Mm-hmm.
uh, don't use that child, because it's going to affect that child for the rest of his life. And when he's an adult, you're messing up relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and that child has now learned how to parent from the way that y'all parented him.
Mm-hmm.
So then we start a cycle of, well, this is how I will parent the same way I was parented. And
Mm-hmm.
so we just have to be careful with that as well.
That's true. That's true. I like that. Because that's just important in the community in general. Like,
Right.
even if you don't get married and stuff like that, it's like, okay, like relax, like let's bring the child to the front and let's
Mm-hmm.
just be adults, because that does really affect us, and you can see that in generational curses and stuff like that with
Mm-hmm.
children and how they raise, and it does kind of make it sad when they get older and it's like, oh, I hate my dad or I hate my mom, but it's just like
Mm-hmm.
they were on the same page. So that's really, really a good one. So I like that. Um,
Right.
so my next question would be, if y'all could think about it now, what would be the three most important topics that you should talk about before you get married?
Okay, I'm gonna take one. Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
No, okay.
No, you go first.
Okay, so my first thing that I would really want for us is, first of all, let's talk about how we handle arguments inside of our relationship.
Okay, that's
Um,
good.
because of the fact a lot of people want to say, well, oh, he's so nice, he's this, that, and the other. Well, baby, that's great, but I want to see them on their bad day. You know, do they beat their wives? You know, do they beat their friends when they get mad? Do they throw stuff when they get mad? You know, we need to know all these different types of things, you know, before you say I do, because when you get in a relationship and you didn't see that right hook coming before you got married, that's a problem. And so therefore we need to understand how do you handle when you get upset? When you get upset, how do you act?
Right. Are you look, I married Derek, but are you gonna be John when I come?
Okay. we'll know.
Yeah,
Jeffrey Dahmer or something?
Yeah, I feel that one.
yeah, Mr. Jekyll and Dr. Hyde, you know,
Yes.
are you going to switch on me?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
And I would say also something that should be maybe communicated before marriage is a family. Children or no children. Are there any previous children? You know, I don't want to get married and then get a surprise later and say, hey,
or 2 or 3 surprises.
Somebody knocking on the door and you say, hey, that's my daddy, that's my mama. Okay, I didn't know you had the kids, you know. Things like that happen, you know. So I think, you know, that should be part of a conversation before you get married, you know, starting a family, or do you have a family, you know, already?
Right. And then the last thing, well, not the last thing, because there are many conversations that we could have. But you know, how do you handle your finances? Do you know how to add? Do you think that if you have a checkbook, you have as much money as you want until you run out of checks? Because the fact, you know, hey, just because you got checks don't mean you got money, you know. You know, so we are how you budget, you know, can you plan? Do you own stock? You know, all those different types of things as well. So those would be 3 things that I think would be a place to start. But keep in mind, the conversation does not stop there.
So you all said finances, family, and then you said how someone handles their arguments.
Oh, frustrations.
That's exactly right.
All right. Thanks for the F. Shout out to you because I couldn't think of one. Thank you though. But to your first point about the frustration, the arguments like that. I watch a lot of divorce court, but Judge Lynn Toller, that's my girl. But shout out to her. She's like, you need to see people in all the seasons. And I believe that right now, like people are so quick, no shade. People are quick to get married, you know, are quick to get in relationships, are quick to have kids. But I'm like, I need to see you in all seasons. And that goes to because you know, death can change people, losing a job can change people, like different things can really change people. And so you really do gotta see it like if you have a bad day and stuff like that. And one thing that you didn't say though, but I'm like, even like people who they be drinking alcohol that you know you get mad when you get drunk. Oh, I don't even want to deal with that because I don't like that, you know. So that's a thing to think about. Like, how do people act when they get mad or they go out, they be drinking? How do you turn up? Do you be fighting? Are you cool? You know, because all that really can affect you. Yeah. So all that can affect you. So I really think that is great, and also that's good too. Like, because there's also way more conversations to have, but those are very important too. The finances be on the list for these couples that I've been asking.
I'm telling you, don't play with my money.
Okay, yes, I love that one. But Miss Parker said that she likes nice things, so you know you got to have your money together.
You're right about it.
If you wine and dine before, you can't stop once you get married, you know.
You just got cheaper wine. No,
not cheaper wine. That's so funny. So my next question is, what are the biggest challenges of marriage?
Now, I think one of the challenges at times can be affection. And I say that because most women, we love the affection part of it. You know, a man could think, hey, if I bring roses home or I took you to dinner, that's affection. But just sitting in the house watching TV, you know, communicating with me, just having a conversation, that can be affection. And so a lot of times I think, you know, We don't get that as much because sometimes men think, well, I'm at home, I'm in the house, but yeah, and it's still we together, but we're not together, you know. So I think that's one thing I would say, affection.
You know, I don't like being put in a box. You know, when she said, you know, men, I know I'm kind of sometimes I'm outside of that box. You know,
I'm just talking in general.
I don't like being in the box. No, let
Okay.
me get out.
Okay. Be like, Mr. Parker.
But so for me, when it comes to that affectionate thing, when we got married,
Mm-hmm.
um, I didn't understand how to love.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I saw my family, I thought, you know, hey, that's love for us. You know, hey, we don't have to say hey when we wake up in the morning. You know, and that was hey, that said a whole lot of stuff. I'm doing fine, you know, and everything. But when I married her, she came from a different background.
Mm.
And so she was from a background that always hugged. They always kissed. They got gifts for Easter. We know we didn't get no gifts for Easter.
I got an Easter basket.
Yeah,
New
Yes.
outfit.
yeah, they
Okay.
got gifts. I'm like gifts. And so now when I think that I'm showing her love,
Mm-hmm.
what she's used to, no, you're not showing it to me. I'm not getting it. And so that took a moment of conversation between the two of us where we could come back and say, hey, look, uh, this is affection to me, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And so now I believe that I have come from all the way on the left. I was a far left guy, and I'm all the way on the right now. And it's so now when she leaves, and because I'm at home during the day, and she leaves and goes in the office on certain days, I'm like, man, you know, I miss you while you was gone. You know, I want to be around you. You know, if she's gone, you know, and one thing that we do
Mhm.
before we leave each other, we're going to say, hey, I'm gone, and you're going to get a kiss.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as we come back in, you know, I got to run the bathroom or whatever, drop these bags off. But we're going to find each other, and we're giving each other a kiss. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so it's like that time that we was away from each other. You know, that was like a gap, man, of not having part of my heartbeat with me. You know, and so I missed that. You know, and I was just telling her the other day. I was like, man, I showed nothing ever happens to you, man, because when I just think about something happening to her, man,
Mm-hmm.
I get teary eyed right now, man. That's good gracious.
Don't cry. Don't cry.
Okay.
Don't cry.
You know, but yeah, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so affection is something that I know that we have to do in a relationship, and I said a lot of that to go to communicating.
Mhm.
uh, we have to talk in a relationship. And when we are talking in our relationships, it doesn't mean that you get the say everything you want to do, say, and not listen.
Mm-hmm.
Communication is, and I even with prayer or whatever, because prayer is communicating with God. And I say that that communication is pretty much I talk,
Mm-hmm.
you listen.
Mm-hmm.
You talk, I
Mhm.
listen, and we have a dialogue back and forth. And we have to learn that when we're talking, we don't talk at each other, but we talk to each other. And so that way it keeps everybody calm, it keeps us down, you know, it keeps emotions from rising real high, you know, and doing those conversations for periods.
Yeah, I feel like right there, that's that comprehension piece. I feel like everybody says communication and stuff like that, but like you got to go to the next level comprehension. And like,
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying is basically like listen to not respond, but like listen to understand. And I feel
Exactly.
like some people don't really understand that all the time.
Right.
it's like, yeah, I'm communicating, but people speak different languages all the time. And
Yes.
Exactly.
so when you communicate, I'm speaking English, you listening, you know how to speak Spanish, you not understanding what I'm saying. So like, I really feel like that's really important. And to your piece that you were saying about the affection and stuff like that, that also goes into love languages, which is really, really popular now, the 5 love languages. But also I think that goes into before talking about like how you were raised, and I think that is really important because some people were raised on like struggle love, and I don't want to say it like insensitive, but some people were raised on love, so it thinking about now, I meant not struggle love, I meant surviving. Like they were raised like as a survival tactic. So it's like, yeah, I love you because I'm taking care of you, I'm paying your bills or whatever. And so that's what people see, and that's what people know. And I feel like, well, I'm not trying to generalize the men, but I feel like a lot of men, you say I'm a lot, some men, I feel like they are kind of raised on that, like, okay, this is how I show you, this is what I do, and they always don't know. And then the women come in like, oh, I want this, I want that, I want a little bit more affection too. But I think that comes into like that raising on survival and raising on love. And everybody's not really raised on love. And so even when I'm talking and looking, I'm like, oh, I was raised on love. I don't know what y'all was raised on out here. Like that's another thing too to think about. And then that, because that can also go into how your relationship is and different things like that. But knowing how you was raised and even what you want to do in the future, I think that that is really important as well. So I like that how y'all brought that up. So y'all feel like the affection, and then y'all feel like that's like one of the biggest ones. And
we do. At first I didn't, but now I do. I need it now. It's like fuel in my gas tank. I need that now.
Yeah, that was so sweet. That was so sweet. You were saying that you miss her when she goes to work. Oh, that's so cute. And the pandemic changed things too, because before everybody was going to work, doing all this and that stuff. And now you do. So like both of y'all out, but you're like, okay, I'm at home all day long. Like I'm used to my wife being here. Like, where's she at?
Right. Now, at the beginning, it used to not be like when I would leave or he would go TDY or I go TDY. I would, when I get to the airport, I'm like, hey, give me a call and let me know you're at the airport. When you land, if you got a layover, call me, before you go to sleep, when you arrive at the hotel, different things like that. And I'll be like, you miss me yet? And he was like, I've just
You
left.
just left.
Like, I miss you, and I'm sleeping with one of his t-shirts on because I miss him so much. And now he's not got to that point. Like if I go away, he's the same way now. But at first it was like, girl, we think I want you, I ain't miss you yet. You ain't been gone 24 hours. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Influencing, I'm cracking up. This is just a little fun razzle dazzle question because I don't really know if y'all really went on a date because you were saying that y'all in 2 weeks. So I was gonna say, who should pay for the first date?
Our first date.
We don't know what our first date was.
Our first date. Yes, I will go to my grave with this one.
And you're going to your grave wrong.
Our first date was when he came back from El Paso to see me. And he picked me up, and his youngest brother was going his younger brother was going to his graduation. No, his younger brother was graduating. Right. So our first date was to his brother's graduation.
Who takes somebody to a graduation for
his parents' house? Okay,
and that was our first date. The first date.
So you got to keep in mind, we already proposed to each other on our first date.
I went to a high school graduation of his younger brother and back to his parents' house.
No, did you have a ring for her when you went back?
So when I went back, I got back on a Friday. By that next Thursday, she had her ring on her hand.
Oh my goodness!
Was you saving up for the ring already?
And the next week we were married.
So y'all got married in Virginia?
No, Texas. El Paso.
I rode back with them.
You rode back with him, and y'all got married in El Paso, Texas.
Right.
Oh, okay. So he had the ring, and then he took you out the country.
Yes. Yes, straight out the country.
So who pays on the first date? The husband.
It was only for gas. It was only for gas. That's it. For gas for his car.
But to answer your question, I really believe you have to when you go on your date, The first date, I really, because some people feel have the mindset, if I pay for a date, then if I pay for dinner, then you owe me something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really don't have a problem if on the first date that you go Dutch. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
However, we have always had the mentality, if we invite somebody with us, then we take care of them. So if you ask someone out, hey, look, let's go catch dinner or lunch or a cup of coffee, then you're the one that is obligated to take care of that bill. But if someone asks you out,
Mm-hmm.
hey, okay, let's go, but I'm not paying. But always have some money in your pocket
just in case.
just in case.
And then I will always also say you can go out and then the person may want to pay, the opposite sex may want to pay, but then you can, if you're not feeling that person, again, communication come in.
Right.
Hey, you can pay for it, but that don't mean anything, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you can come back and I no, that's okay. I got mine. I got my matter of fact, and I have an Uber.
Cracking up. That's so funny. What made you come up with the if the person asks, then they have to pay? Was that just like something that you thought about, or you feel like that's just like fair?
So I thought it was fair. So one of the things that even if we do that now,
Mm-hmm.
with other couples. So if we ask a couple, hey, look, y'all want to go out on a date night with us, double date night, whatnot, we take care of that couple as well.
Okay, okay. I see what you're
You
saying.
know, so even if now if my wife said, Derek, I want to go to whatever, okay, let's go. You paying.
Well, if I'm paying, it's coming out of both our checking accounts because we don't have separate accounts, okay?
You sound like my mom.
I take it right on out the bank. That's it. That's it. I take it right on out the bank.
I'm cracking up. That is so funny. Oh, this is okay. This is just a question, but me and my coworkers have been chatting about money, our money, and stuff like that. And so, since you said you have a joint account, do y'all feel like um our money is our money, or do you feel like you should have separate accounts for like your money and his money?
I would say in a marriage, I don't believe that's yours, this is mine. I believe that it's all one. If we are saying we coming together as one, everything is one. But I'm not saying that if you have a separate savings, you want to take out $50 and he said, hey, well, the head may, when I said the head, the husband may say, hey, I'm gonna take care of all the bills. So your money, you could just put in savings. That's something different. And then he may say, well, it's savings, but if you want something, we'll talk about if, you pull out something separate for yourself. But I don't believe in separate accounts. I believe that, you can put something to the side for savings, or he may say, hey, I'm gonna take care of the bills. And in your check, you could take out $100 each paycheck and put something to the side for you. That's your spending money,
And and I feel the same way. However, what works for you works for you. Um, but I will say this: one of the problems with having the joint accounts, every account that we have is a joint account. But one of the problems with having that is my wife tries to surprise me.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
But guess what?
You
When she
know it.
comes, oh, so what did you just spend $300 on? You know.
Now the truth is, before I even get home, he already know what I'm gonna spend it on.
But when it comes to the joint accounts, you have to have a communication with that. Now, nothing that I say, not that I'm saying my wife has to do this, but if my wife is going to pull something out of the account, she will always come to me and say, Derek, I'm going to blah blah blah, and I'm gonna spend about such and such amount of money. All right, so I know. And the only reason why she's doing that to me is because the fact I'm the one. Remember, I was talking about the who can count in the relationship, who can budget better. Well, I feel, and we feel that I'm a better budgeter inside the household.
Yes, he
Mhm.
is.
So therefore, not that I have the shotgun at the bank, but it is that I want to be able to manage that account. But
Mhm.
whatever works for that couple,
Mhm.
then that works for them.
Yeah, yeah, I think about that too. Cause I was like, oh dang, like what if you want to surprise somebody, whatever? They're already gonna see how much you spend. I'm for my own bank account, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm just like, I like to have my own money, whatever, but different people have different things. But I do think when people hear like when you come to like when you come as one, like it's our money. I'm not saying that it's not our money, but it's like it's our money together. You have the bill money and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
definitely what works for you can work for you. I just feel like that's a conversation. And I feel like when
Exactly.
people get married and stuff like that, like finances are really a big issue because that can really like break up people. And
That's
really
true.
you can like that's like one of the number one reasons people get divorces is because of finances.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
And there are so many ways to work that because um, you can have where you can do the percentage of our bills together comes up to this amount. And
mm-hmm.
so this percentage of my account, since we don't make the same amount of money, and this percentage of your amount will equal up to paying our bills. And so all of that money goes into one pot
Mhm.
to take
Mm-hmm.
care of our life.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the money stays in your account. And so there's so many different ways to
Mm-hmm.
work.
I like that percentage. I pay 20%.
Yeah. And really it's not 20% of the bills. It'd be 20 maybe because you make so much more than what they make.
The bills.
Because I know you that huge baller that's out
No,
there.
I am not no baller. I don't need that to go on the YouTube stream. I need 20% of the bills. Okay.
But it's of your income, so that way that both of us are spending the same amount percentage wise of what
Mm-hmm.
we make. So
Mhm.
it's not like I'm spending all my money to pay the bills because I'm trying to pay the same amount that
Mm-hmm.
you're paying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
When
like
you strapped, man,
that. Mm-hmm.
but if we do it percentage wise, I think that
Yeah.
it helps, and then that way she or I will know. Hey, look, we can't go get that Maybach. We might have to get that 300.
Okay. Let's get that Mazda. Okay. Something in the budget. Right,
Whatever works.
that's a
Whatever
lot
works.
of social media nowadays, like 50-50, 100-100 or whatever. Well, not 100-100. It'd be
Uh,
60-40, fifty
Mhm.
fifty, 0-100 for real, for real. So
Right.
people are always talking about that, like, and traditionally the man is the provider, but
Right.
nowadays, since you're saying the girls are getting the money and stuff like that, a lot
yes.
of things have been changing. So
Mhm.
also within that too, I feel like that is like a conversation. I don't know if y'all
Yes.
watched my dad's video, but I was saying that some men have egos when it comes to like their woman making more than them.
Oh yeah.
My dad was like, well, they can have my ego.
Bring it home.
That's
Bring
right.
it home.
That's right.
That's
That's,
it.
hey, if you want to bring home the bacon, I cook it.
Okay. Yes,
Fried
that's
up in
so
a pan.
funny. What'd you say, Miss Parker?
I said frying up in a pan. He said bring
Right.
on the bacon.
Yes. But I know it's so funny, like y'all, like this y'all generation, y'all like what is fine, but also like what it is to be like a provider and all that stress. But the new generation is some of them are like I'll stay home, but some of that ego and stuff like that, when you hear it, it's just a lot going on. And so I feel like also too that like we're listening to people on social media as well and too, and so some of that stuff just gets talked about. People don't even have no idea what they're talking about. Ain't even
Mhm.
married, I ain't even seen a marriage for real. They're just talking
Right.
off of what they think that
Right.
goes on in their head. So
Right.
that's also I think is really important to bring people who have been
Right.
That's true.
for so while. So
That's
as
true.
my last question, we're coming to a close. I wanted to ask, what advice would you give the younger generation or tips about marriage or even preparing to be married?
So one of the things I would ask a couple, because I do a lot of marriage ministry as well.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I would ask the couples is to write down on a piece of paper separately,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think marriage is?
Mm.
What are your pros and your cons of being married?
Okay.
And then exchange that paper with each other and then see how they come together.
Mm.
Because some people have different looks of what marriage actually means, what actually marriage, what are the benefits to being married. And so you may go into getting married and say, hey, look, this is not what I thought was going to happen.
Up for, yeah.
And so you need to know those things going in. What he looks at marriage to being, that the woman staying at home and she got to have my meal cooked when I get through the door, and you thinking, no, he need to stay home and have my meals cooked when I come in the door. These things are some of the things that I think that we need to communicate those things at the beginning of the relationship.
Yes. And I will add to that and say, even with that, marriage is hard work. And a lot of times we live in times now that people want things the way they want it, or else they out. Marriage is work. Anything that you want to make happen in life, to reach goals, you got to work at it. And so marriage is no different. It's like you look at buying a house. If you buy a house and you put smoke detectors in the house, and the smoke detector need a battery, it starts beeping, right? You just don't just leave the house and say, oh, I'm going to buy a new house. Right?
Yeah, I like that analogy.
You go put some batteries. So in marriage, you got to do whatever. When you hear that beeping sound that's in the marriage or before marriage, you got to work at it and not just be willing to just give up and say, oh, I ain't got time for that. You just go ahead. I make my own money. I can hold my own because I'm that independent woman, or
I'm a phenomenal woman. Phenomenal woman.
for me, it's not even about that. It's just that if you want something, I believe if you want a man to bring something to you, he's gonna make it the best version or better for you.
Right.
And likewise, and you do the same for him. You pull out those things, you push him to his goals, and pull out that better version in him as well.
And also, when it comes down to it, what does he or she bring to the table? When you do they have good credit score?
Are
Hey,
you guys on the first date?
Well, that's some things you need to talk about it.
At some point in time early, that conversation need to come up, because of the fact that some people date for convenience, and while other people are dating for a future. And so if you're dating for a future, if you know that this guy got bad credit and or whatever, and you don't want to be in that process, man, I don't have the time to build your credit up, then that might not be the person for you. So you need to know what they bring to the table at the beginning.
And then I want to say this. I know we're pushed for time. Also, their beliefs. Are you a Christian? I mean, you got so many different religions now, but I believe in our marriage, what made us so successful in our marriage and keep things alive is that we put God first. And you have to put God first in your marriage, because if not, it's not gonna work. And you don't want to get in a marriage and you're like, oh, I'm a Christian, but then you find out he's another type of religion or likewise, and then you have all that confusion.
And how you raising a child,
right? And then you start in a family. So these things got to be talked about if you're a believer, and if you're not, you can't be unequally yoked. You got to know those things.
I'm so surprised. I was waiting for y'all to say that earlier. I was like, what? I was surprised that it took this long for y'all to say that. Honestly.
Yeah. But see, we really, I'm gonna be honest with you. We really we're real. I don't want to say religious, because you can religiously do anything. But we are believers, but we're practical as well, because I know that this podcast is going to reach people of all faiths. Some that don't have faith, and so with that being said, these are practical things that we know that we have tried that work, and at the end of the day, though, for us, I know if God had not been in the relationship for us, I told you about those first 5 years. Um,
Okay.
hey, that somebody would have been on a 747 with a passport back to the States.
Yeah,
Not bringing her with you and then kicking her out.
right. Pick me up and then but
Yeah.
you have to put God first in anything. I believe that. And then God, family, you gotta have that. You gotta have that strong foundation.
Yeah, and as we as my wife was talking about the structure for us, because we talked about blended families earlier. So now you have God first. Now my child came into this relationship, so it was God and then my child because I was single because we broke up, right? But now I've gotten married, so now the next person in my relationship is no longer my child. Wow, somebody's gonna say, "Well, you mean that's my child? That's my baby. My baby gonna come before any man gonna come." But the next one in your relationship should be your wife or your spouse, and then your children. Well, you say, why? Why is that? Because of the fact that your spouse is there with you for life. It's supposed to be. If that's what y'all are, that's the reason why you got married. It's to death do you part. And if you have a girl or her or a son, they're going to get married. And they're going to cleave and become one flesh together with each other. So now you're going to, if you're not, if your child is your second, you're not going to be spending any time with your spouse because you're going to be all up in their relationship.
And after 18 years, they might be gone.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And those are the things for us. If it had not been for God in our relationship, it wouldn't work.
Yeah. Well, we love to hear that. Oh yeah.
I want to say, Lisa, even with you said talking to people that are not married before they get married. Nowadays, I consider us as OGs.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to
I'm a gangster now. I feel it. I'm a gangster.
No, but what I'm saying is because I look at my nieces and my nephews, and I'm always asking them about dating. And nowadays, like, oh, I have friends. It's like this millennial now, they don't say, oh, that's my boyfriend, that's my girlfriend. Oh, that's my friend.
We dating like that in this generation.
Right. So I'm like, how does it lead up to marriage? Because I mean, like, I don't understand. Everybody just a friend.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's just different. That's what I'm saying. We have these conversations. People really don't aspire to marriage and stuff like that because you can't get it on your own. People making more money, and then they think about, oh, I gotta share my money with somebody. I gotta think about somebody. And I just think overall, in general, like that sharing, the compromise, like people don't really want to put in all that work as what y'all were saying. Like it's work because I know me. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. Like what? Like where's my papers? Because I've been doing life so long, and also. Now you don't really have to depend on people as much as you do when you as in like other generations, and people aren't really choosing to have kids and stuff like that. So it's like, well, if I only want to get married to have kids, if I don't want to have kids, I don't really have to be married to you and stuff like that. So I think all that comes into play, and just with like life circumstances, environment, and then what I was saying before, some people don't really have a positive outlook on marriage and stuff like that. Like they didn't see that. So I really feel like it's kind of hard too. If you haven't seen anything, it's kind of hard to like be a part of that. But knowing that I seen it and what it does, I'm like, oh, okay, I could do that. But I could be a dude that he was like, what? No, I never want to get married. Like my parents weren't married, and I'm still doing this. It's like, okay, well, we on two different paths,
Right.
Exactly. So I think, that is too. That is a reason why as well. But I wanted to ask you, Mr. Derek, because you were saying that some people date for convenience and some people date for marriage. I want to say, what does dating for convenience mean in a situation, or do you have an example of that?
So I would say when I say dating for convenience, one is obviously they date for sex. And then they date for companionship because sometimes they just want to they don't want to be alone. And then some people just need someone there for protection. I look at my dad. and I know he doesn't mind me saying this, but my dad has been with a young lady now. I know they've been together for over 20 some years and never been married.
What?
You know, but you know, being who we are, we still believe in, hey, look, that may be common law or whatever it is. However, y'all need to stand before the judge, the priest, or somebody, and say, "Get we do." Um,
Mhm.
so so I don't understand my dad and his girlfriend's perspective,
Mhm.
you know. But when they come stay with us, you know, even though they're unmarried, we will not allow them to stay in the same room. I mean, because they're unmarried. That's my dad and his girlfriend. They don't do it. My boys, they don't do it. You know, and they may have kids. My son has a young lady. They got a family going. When they come here, they're in different bedrooms.
Not y'all doing it like that to the people. Not the OG. I recognize
Joshua says, me and my house, we would serve the Lord. So that way we're going to do what's
not you
pleasing.
doing that to your daddy though. I'm cracking up. That is so funny.
Yeah, and the thing is, he understands it. So sometimes when they come, they won't come and stay. You know, they get a hotel, they'll go stay with somebody else or whatever, you know, but he already understands, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And so so that's the convenience part that I say now.
Yeah,
Reason why I don't understand
yeah.
being together with someone for 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
20 years plus,
Mm-hmm.
and not wanting to say I do, you know.
Yeah, I do see the convenience in it because it's like, okay, if we having a future together, we doing this and we doing that. Some people don't always think about the legal aspect and stuff like that, like if it's a business and stuff like that. So I can
Mhm.
definitely understand. But you sound like my dad, and that's why I was like, I would never bring. I don't think people would bring people home if you act like we gotta sleep in different rooms. I mean, there's only so many rooms now. We know y'all balling down there, okay? There's only so many rooms. We only got so many rooms.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
So I'm like, what? Like, you want to bring people in, then you gotta like sleep in separate rooms. Like, that's a lot. But yeah, I don't think my dad going for that either. He's like, separate rooms. I'm like, well, dad, calm down now. You know, if we brought everybody, if everybody brought somebody and we all in separate rooms, we gonna be on the floor, and I don't need to be sleeping on the floor, no couch in my parents' room.
Hey, you'll get your brother's girlfriend and y'all bunk up together.
Oh yeah. Well, that's true. That's true. But I don't know them girls. I'm just playing. But yes, definitely. That is so funny. But at least they respect and
Right.
that is really great. You know, you live your life how you want to, but yeah. And then, you know, hopefully everybody gets married and live a happily ever after life.
Right, exactly.
It can be done. It can be done. But it's work.
I'm 100. I've said this for so long. Marriage is the best thing that's ever happened to me,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're married to the right one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am a Parker, and being married to a Parker it is not a good thing. My wife looked at me like, please stop. But it's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and that's the reason why I know that God designed this young lady specifically for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the reason why I love her so much, is because I know God designed her for me. Nobody else, anybody else get her, they give her back.
Yes, well, that is so sweet. I love how you started off with that too. In the beginning, that's so fun. So this was for like Lovers Month. You know, Black Marriage Week is like, you know, the week before Valentine's Day or whatever. So just to end this, I know we're gonna wrap it up. Do y'all believe Valentine's Day is for the woman, or do you believe it is for love, and that both of each other should get someone a gift?
I believe it's for love.
Okay.
Um, I just don't believe it's just the man always giving to the woman, because if I love my husband, or I love or I'm just saying, if someone else, not me,
Okay.
I'm talking about someone else,
Okay.
you know, they in a relationship or whatever, you know, a friend or whatever, and they, you know, desire to do something for that person, I
Mhm.
believe that they should. It's not just one-sided. I believe it's love, and the man is just as important as the woman.
So Valentine's Day is a day that's just been set aside to show love to me.
Mhm.
Um, we love our parents, so we
Mhm.
get our parents gifts. We
Mhm.
love our kids, we get them little cards. If I remember as being in elementary school, we used to have those little cupcakes or whatever. We'll take, so that everybody in the class would get something, and so I don't think that it's a day for my
Mhm.
wife to get another gift. She gets gifts every day, and then we're not gonna she wants the anniversary,
Yeah,
she wants her birthday, we're not gonna give her another day.
and I just don't even believe that you gotta wait to that one day.
Exactly right,
If you
right.
could if you can afford every day, 365 days a year
That's
to
right.
give me something, do it. I don't care. It could be just a small note. He don't do it 365 days. He does show love. He goes
Because I,
above and beyond. But
I went and bought her a car just because it was Wednesday.
yeah, right.
Okay, yeah,
But
show them,
what
show
I'm saying is, it could be just a simple note on the pillow when she wakes up or he wakes up. I mean, just different stuff that you can do to show that you love and you appreciate the one that you're with.
Man, because it's nothing like um, coming down the steps,
them.
going in the kitchen to get your cup of coffee, and there's a card with a little rose sitting on the counter just to say, "Hey, I love you."
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, and that was for me. That wasn't what I done for her, and so men like flowers too. I'm
Okay,
just trying to.
noted.
I'm just trying to say. We want some affection.
Duly noted.
Yeah.
I'm cracking up. So that was cool though. You said basically you're trying to say like it's just not romantic for Valentine's Day love. It's like for parents, it's for kids. Yeah, because my
It's
dad
love.
actually gives me Valentine's every
That's
day.
right. That's
So
right.
it could be for friends and stuff like that. There's like Galentine's and everything like that. So that is really, really cool. But I love that. And showing love definitely all throughout the year. We just be having these conversations. So I just want to be hearing, like different perspectives on what it is. Because sometimes they do now. I am because they try to make it hard for them, and they be like, anniversary this or whatever. They be like, okay, they gotta ask to be your Valentine. I'm like, now if they married to you, you already know they're gonna be your Valentine, so you ain't gotta ask all the time.
Right.
Let's just try to give the men a little, a little slack. But they be trying to come hard for the men.
Preach,
I be
girl, preach,
trying.
preach.
Y'all like me, but I be trying. But okay, now maybe dating, but like you married, like it's okay to get in something. And if it's for the woman, I don't know you can still get him a gift.
Yeah.
It's called balance because then they gonna try to
Right.
bring up another day later on, and I only got money for this one day. I don't got money
Right.
Right.
for two
Right.
gifts.
Exactly.
And,
So
and, and
we're gonna try to do all together.
for us, we ask each, what you want for Valentine's Day? You know what our answers to each other?
It's
Nothing. It's nothing. We say we want absolutely nothing from each other. But for some reason, there's a little card here or
Mhm.
or,
Yeah.
or massage certificate or something like that. Something just to show our appreciation to each other. And it doesn't have to be something big or any of that type of stuff. Because some folks think you got to get that big diamond, you got to get the big thing because it's Valentine. Oh, you just get just a card, nothing else. No, it's love.
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly right.
Right.
Yes, I love that. I love that. So this has been great. I don't want to take up all y'all's time, but if y'all have any last minute things that y'all want to say, let them know, about y'all. Or if y'all don't, that's good. We can just wrap it up. But I do want to say thank y'all for being part of my marriage series. It's been great. And it's been
Well, thank
fun.
you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Thank
very much
you.
for having us here with you. We
We
definitely
enjoy
enjoyed
it.
ourselves. We really did.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. So make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe to the channel and leave comments, and hopefully y'all enjoyed this series. We're going to see if I bring it back next year or do something else. So thank y'all so much for watching this episode. See y'all in the next one. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.